Yes, welcome to the No State Project live from May 6th, 2020. Glad to be here once again on the No State Project for as long as we can, I guess, in these days, winding down the days. Let's see, nobody just, oh yeah, there we go. Appreciate those who will be tuning in since we're not doing too well right now. But it is Wednesday, May 6th, 2020. And as I mentioned on a Saturday broadcast, I might be going to, and I probably will be going to, just a once a week of the show. Would I probably do that just on Saturday afternoons? Or I don't know. People, you guys, let me know in the chat if I do the show just once a week, is it better on Saturday? Is it better here on the Wednesday broadcast? So, you guys, let me know. So, if you want to join me on yes, it's good to see you guys. You want to join me on the show? I cannot take callers. It's not a tech issue, believe it or not, but it is. It's a money issue. So I can't take callers, but other than on Skype. So if there's less to look at now. So I will keep an eye on Skype. So if you instant message me first, let me just. Actually, if you just call, as long as there's nobody else on, it's muted up. I'll see it, and then we can bring you up there. So someone's already voting for Saturday. Everybody ready for the coming food shortages and how people will be acting then? Well, I guess some places have actually had food shortages, depending on what kind of food it is. Is a mass food storage, mass food shortage? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But that's kind of the one of the things I'm not going to discuss what's going on. A good time to become vegan. It's interesting you say that because one of the stupidest things that I've heard, and again, I just spare me the oh my gosh, he's in a rant again. This is how I talk. To me, a rant is Alex Jones screaming, I don't like them putting chemicals in the water and turning the freaking frogs gay. It's not funny. That to me is a rant. But, gosh. That's why I said years ago, I'm not going to, when someone asked me to, do the radio, I said, I'm not going to have any appeal on the radio outside of New York. And it's proven to be true. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry and douchebag out there is accusing me of constantly that the only thing I do on the show is rant from beginning to end. All I'm doing is yelling and screaming. And I'm all right. Again, it's the people who say that all I do is rant. You're making it really easy to walk away from the show. Really easy. But I'm not saying that people putting forth the argument are stupid. I'm saying the argument is stupid. So spare me the stupid post and that all you do is insult people. I'm not. Tri-state audience. Well, thank you for ranting. Well, so I put in the show title, cross claim for a criminal case. You don't get it from the text, but it's more like, really? It's a sarcasm thing. Really? This is something that needs to be talked about? Sometimes I think when I think about that lawyer who filed a complaint against me, it's more that he's ignoring what I'm actually saying, which is fairly true for most of the people listening. Well, for a good portion of the people listening to the show. But it's like they're paying more attention to the comments and attributing the comments to me. It's like people getting on there and saying that I can't believe as an anarchist you support forced vaccinations. I never said that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. My craven submission to the government, because I support forced vaccinations, which of course I don't. Which I don't know. So in saying I can't speak for all North Carolinians, however, I don't think or feel that way. I don't think a good portion of the people, that still watch the show think that either. I mean, this is the way I talk. This isn't ranting. If it is considered ranting where you are, holy crap! What do you have to talk like this and be real calm and monotone, and so that some idiot on the website doesn't accuse you of ranting? So one of the comments, people seem to like to post things in an effort to help, but this was really kind of stupid. And it was somebody was chastising me on a video, stating that I should have filed, or the person I was helping should have filed a cross claim. And it just is, for those of you who don't know what a cross claim is. A cross claim is not a counterclaim. A counterclaim is when in a civil proceeding, and I'll make my disclaimer for that bald lawyer in Kansas, I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm not giving legal advice. I'm just explaining, in an educational way, in a educational rant. A counterclaim in a civil context, which it only exists in the civil context, it doesn't exist in a criminal context. It's not part of the criminal rules, at least not in the United States, as far as I know. And the defendant within that lawsuit, files their own claim against the plaintiff. Now, this is something that used to come up quite a lot in the patriot mythology world. Well, if they're going to file this, the court's going to file against you, you counterclaim them. Well, not a part of the rules. I know I'm the first one. If it's not explicitly in the rules, I'm going to do it but there's got to be some rational basis to it. And if you file a counterclaim, you are admitting that the court has jurisdiction, at least personal jurisdiction. So, not really the best way to, I think, to go about it. So, what is the difference between a counterclaim and a cross-claim? A cross-claim is between defendants. So, let's say it is Acme Corporation versus Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. And the Roadrunner, as a defendant, decides they're going to file a cause of action against Wile E. Coyote in that same proceeding. So, to whoever said that we should have filed a cross claim in a criminal context, you're completely off base. Not it's criminal, but a cross claim is against defendants. So that's what that is. So hopefully somebody knows the difference now. And we don't do that. So if anyone is going to be proclaiming stuff like that a defendant can file a cross claim against a plaintiff, at least you know better now. At least that's the way that's my understanding of it. Of course, no one's telling you. I always, this is what sucks. I have to go ahead there and yeah. It's not just between defendants, and it can also be between plaintiffs. But cross claims are only between either plaintiffs or defendants. It's not between plaintiff and defendant. It's defendant and defendant. So somebody is preaching that. Set them straight. And I know this goes against some conventional wisdom, and I've caught hell for this too. A simple search on the internet will tell you what the hell the difference is, so you can set somebody straight there. And there was another one. I had never even heard of this before. And I had to look it up. The International Environmental Court. I knew nothing about this. I had never heard of this before. And it wasn't until somebody filed or posted they posted this on, I think it was the last video I did. It was one of the last few videos I did. And I guess I was talking about that lawyer, that lying lawyer from Kansas. And they were saying that I was talking about how he filed his bogus complaint with the bar. Yeah, I aggressively market you, lying snake, you. Oh my gosh! Oh no! I threw an insult. Yeah, I have to take that back. I shouldn't have said snake. I just say a lying lawyer because that's factually accurate. So somebody was making the claim that to defend against the bar, I should file a claim with the International Environmental Court. And it seems to be just what it says. It's an institution for sustainable planetary governance of the, I can't even, okay. It's about environmental laws, global environmental, innovative responses to global environmental change. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe someone who posted that comment did it as a joke. I don't know. It didn't. It's hard to think that something like that, could actually be serious. So, the other thing is, someone I've known for a long time is of the opinion, and I know I was not supposed to talk about this, but I'll just say that not eating meat and to quote, if you don't eat meat and dairy and eggs, that you will become a fairy. A fairy. This is the kind of stuff. This is why it's very easy to move on in life and not have to get emails from people saying, insisting that all the evidence is there. If you don't eat meat, you turn into a fairy. It's another. I guess it's the other way of saying it. For the people who actually are literally ranting and that are multimillionaires many times over because they rant. I think the term is soy boy. The idea that eating soy will turn you in either a homosexual or it will turn you a man into something more effeminate. And I don't even know what words just kind of, if you actually believe that there's evidence and you've seen evidence that not eating animal flesh makes you homosexual. Well, first, I'm like Creed. I'm not offended by homosexuality. I don't think it's against the natural order or it's like or some God's will. I think I think those kind of opinions are they should have went the way of the Spanish Inquisition. But the idea that not eating meat will cause you to become gay or effeminate if you're a man, and that there's a global conspiracy to push not eating meat and dairy, that it somehow weakens your mind and that you're more susceptible to just accepting whatever the globalists tell you. Wow. Well, that's the thing. I don't eat a lot of soy. You don't have just because someone doesn't eat meat and dairy doesn't mean that they automatically eat a lot of soy. The argument, maybe it was I shouldn't have made that comparison. The argument is if you don't eat meat, you will turn gay and effeminate. That's the thing. I've known a lot of gay guys. Not all of them are effeminate. I'm sure enough of them would beat the living hell out of most of the people who would make such stupid comments. It doesn't matter that world records in elite athletics are held by people who either have not eaten meat and dairy for years or have never eaten meat and dairy. So the idea that makes you effeminate or makes you weak or makes your mind weaker. Yeah, I would say that maybe going to law school, something like that, conditions you to think a certain way. That's there's you're absolutely being taught to think in a certain way. I mean, we hear that all the time, that you're supposed to accept the argument and the claim that the laws apply because you're physically in Arizona, like me. I'm supposed to just accept that. And it's been argued on this show, and there have been people who have been trolling my show for years, parroting the same thing. Where did they learn that? They're very upfront about it. They learned it in law school. What? Oh, I guess I'm going to start ranting again. The big complaint against me from these what some think it's just one person, but the two is, had I gone to law school like a normal person, I would know that, because that's where it's taught, you cannot challenge that. So I know that from it's been said to me, that's where it's taught. If I had gone to law school, I would know that's the starting point. So law school certainly teaches you to think in a certain way. I think it would be asinine to argue. It's just like going to medical school will teach you to think in a certain way. That's good and bad for any profession. But I wanted to do the show when my work is based on a foundation of facts, and to hear these things. Oh, Mark, if you don't eat meat and dairy, you're going to become you're fairy. You're going to be effeminate. It's weakening your mind. The fact that you are embracing compulsory vaccinations is proof that you're not questioning. It's proof that your mind is. I don't support coerced compulsory vaccination. Oh, so do we have anybody on? I think I'm getting my answer here. Frank, I have it in the show notes. So if you want, you can instant message me or just call me on Skype at Frank Rizzo 3 if there's something you want to discuss other than how you should do things in court. We can discuss court, but I'm not going to discuss what should and should not be done, because that is those days are long gone. Even after, if the bar does dismiss, that's just not something. Mark, it's because you're from Selden. Yeah, I bet nobody from Long Island could hear me speaking right now and say, well, why is he ranting? Why is he so angry? That's the way I talk. I guess it's because I never really set out to do a show. And I've said from the very beginning, guys, this is an extension of what I do during the day. This is just the work I do. And so people try to level some criticism that, well, this is what you need to do. This is what you got to do to get those big numbers like those other anarchists. Sachem, hey, come on. That's grounds to be blocked right there. Sachem. Holy crap, did you guys beat the living hell out of our football team and pretty much every team. Sachem, good Lord. Yeah, I just might have to block you there, MG. Might have to block you. But one of the criticisms is the show is so small because I'm always upset. I'm always upset. You're a cop too. Okay. A cop that went to Sachem. Now I want to throw down. Gee, I think we may have spoken before. I think you may have even been on the show before. So that it's it's coming back. But I will admit, not that it makes for good radio, But apparently nothing I've done on this show makes for good radio. Yeah, you're damn right. When a 12-year-old boy gets shot within a few seconds of the police arriving, you're damn right that upsets me. You're absolutely right. And I don't, and that's the thing. Alex Jones makes it a point of yelling and screaming for 3 hours, and he's got millions of subs and he's got millions of dollars. So, it's just like Gary Shandling. Yeah, I'm a comedian, but in my regular life, things do still piss me off. How do you not get upset? And I don't get on the show and I yell and scream. I don't do that. But yeah, I'm passionate. It bothers the living hell out of me when the rich and powerful and the ruling class, which we're supposed to be against on the show, when they consistently get away with it. So I'm criticized. What are you giving? You're not giving anything positive. Well, all right. Let's examine that. Yeah, I know. Alex Jones literally frothing angry all the time. His show is huge. I know. People look at what's his name? David Icke having his YouTube channel pulled. Well, was he saying things that went against the policy? The same people that would be screaming, you cannot force a private business to do business with someone that they don't want. You can't force that guy to bake a cake for the homosexuals. Can you force YouTube to keep David Icke's channel? It's a private platform. My channel could be pulled anytime if I violate. And I know there's abuse. The rich and powerful can abuse it. They can just do copyright strikes. But when you work for people, good people, and the U.S. Attorney's Office drives someone that you're working with personally, that you're talking to and you get to know, and something that is done in court actually helps the family, and the U.S. attorney literally runs upstairs to get it overturned, to keep a man who needs medical attention, who's not accused of anything violent, and to keep him in jail, driving the poor wife to kill herself. How does that not bother you? Well, Mark, just keep a monotone. When you have someone choked out on video saying I can't breathe, and the politicians make fun, and the talking head, the rich talking heads on TV, they make fun. The cops wearing shirts saying I can breathe. Yeah, that bothers me. So the thing about motivating, one of the things that everyone who listens to the show or watches now has got to understand and see is that the only motivation that I've been able to get people to do, the main motivate thing that anyone has ever been motivated to do, is to fight against a traffic ticket. That's it. So why get on the and continually say the same thing over and over again, right? Why would I continue saying to the audience, go to a city council meeting, confront these people, expose them for the criminals they are? 2 people have done it. 2. That's right. 2 people out of in 10 years, 2 people have done it. So yeah, I guess I'm just, it's frustrating to hear the avalanche of complaints about the show. The nonstop avalanche of complaints about the show. Well, if you didn't get upset all the time, if you weren't always pissed off, I don't know. It's like, what are you? Are you butt buddies with this lawyer in Kansas? Are you watching a different show? Yeah, stop yelling. Say, Mark, I got my 80-year-old father to read Adventures of Legal, and good for you. I appreciate that. Yeah, appeal to emotion. What piss? Yeah. Yeah. So I, I will speak about court to get back before I end the show. Like I did on the last show, I bet you I could sit here and I could just read from the rules of evidence, and someone is going to say, seriously, why is he so upset? Why is he always ranting? Why doesn't he have anything positive and motivating to say? Yeah, I know. Uh, but I spoke last time about why I do things the way I do, and I mentioned you can go to my website, which I may have the opportunity to migrate my website to and somebody will host it for free. So the only thing that would be coming down off of the website would be the store, which if you want to still help support the show as long as it can keep going, it is appreciated. Uh, I'm not saying you got to do it. I'm not. In fact, I yeah, the success stories are positive. Mark is triggered. Yeah, it, it's frustrating to be on. It's a frustrating situation, and you get tired of. In fact, I'm going to have to just shut down two of my emails. So the markstevens@mail.com is going to be the only email. The Rise Up one and the markstevens@markstevens.net. Don't use those anymore. So yeah, I'm staying positive. I that's why I'm still doing the show. So I'm kind of leaning towards maybe Saturday doing the show, since not a single call or a single Skype came in on this show. So if I go to one show a week, it's well, you know what? We'll see what happens if we get any callers on Saturday. I think other people, and some of them are well-meaning, that that I don't have guests on the show, and I think I addressed this already. Uh, the show is just too small, and guests, I had it even said directly to Calvin. Call when there's at least 100K subs, because he won't do a show without 100, with a minimum 100K subs. So MG saying your show is open this NYPD retired cop's mind to new ideas and have used your method in family court. My sons are now back in my life. Hey, well, that's fantastic. That's great. That's fantastic. So there's a lot of stories like that. There are a lot of success stories, and I'm glad that I was able to do the show this long. And the material is still up there. So even if I'm not talking directly about court, the material for the time being is still there. And there are still plenty of videos where I'm not directly addressing, you guys in the audience and someone who has a problem. I mean, it's not a problem talking about law theoretically. Maybe this bald, fat lawyer from Kansas would have that's the thing. It doesn't have to be factually accurate with this guy. It doesn't have to be factually accurate. I bet it's just tearing him up that I don't reveal his name so he can use it, so that he can complain to the bar. I say, I've not once called the man an enemy. A snake, which I took back. Fat, true. Bald, really true. How is that relevant? It's not. What's relevant is that he's lied. And that's one thing that I would say to anybody that's under attack. Wipe the slate clean. Do a thorough investigation of the facts. Know the facts. Because if it's coming from a lawyer, it doesn't matter if they went to Harvard, doesn't matter if they went to Yale. That doesn't mean they're going to be honest. Well, foreign source, I don't use ad hominems. An insult is not always an ad hominem, but an ad hominem is always an insult. I don't use I've explained this before. I do not use insults to defeat somebody's argument. This lawyer in Kansas said that I aggressively marketed. I didn't say because he's bald, that's wrong. Well, what with this bald, so-and-so? No. I showed that my show, I have zero, I don't advertise. There's nothing outside of my show. I don't go on. So I use facts to counter his claim. He calls me a sovereign citizen, a domestic terrorist, and I show that I am not. I don't say that his claim is wrong because he's bald and fat, or just because he's a lawyer. There should be one thing that people can agree on, is that I know how to address and defeat an argument. Yeah, the laws apply because they say so. I know, but that's not circular logic in law. Really? So I can turn around and say the laws don't apply because the laws don't apply? Does anyone really think that I could get away with using circular logic and saying, whoa, you can't defeat an argument in law by claiming it's circular logic. You can't do that. You can say it's frivolous. And if you are part of the government, you can say frivolous and it's okay. You don't, so that's fine. Explain how it's circular then. It doesn't matter. Now, if someone's asking to explain why the laws apply because they say they apply, why that's circular, is because you're assuming your premise is true. You're assuming the laws apply. And that's the fatal flaw. It's circular. It's like a more common example is the Bible is the word of God. How the hell do you know that? Because the Bible says so. You're assuming that your premises are right and correct. And that's circular logic. The Bible is the word of God. How do you know that? Because the Bible says so. How do you know that the Bible's the word? And you just go round and around. The laws apply because they say so. You're assuming that the premise is true, that they apply in the first place. They could say anything. They have to apply. See, it's supposed to be that the foundational supreme law in the land is the constitutions, whether it's the state constitution or the federal. Debo's saying the laws apply because we make them apply, is what I got from the local chief. Yeah, because they say so. They're willing to kill you. This is getting to why, at least I'm an anarchist from an ethical standpoint, and not to be an edgy, angry kid. Because they are just men and women forcing us to give the money. It's the violence that's the problem. So Spencer's right on the money. Circular means you're offering as the basis for your argument the very thing you're supposed to be proving. Yeah. You're assuming your premise is true. You're assuming the damn, yeah. And so when they say, and that, and that's the the force continuum is something that I talk about constantly. That's why it's unethical. It's because they are using force. And that's why Scott Bales and Bill Montgomery, who are Supreme Court justices in Arizona, that's why they said the reason why the laws apply to me now is because they've put other people in prison. It's their willingness to kill me. But you see, the position is not just that the laws apply. The position is, or the argument is, they apply and they create obligations. And that's why I always go, can forcing somebody to give you money create obligations? The answer is, at least in my head, no. And that's why the whole thing collapses. This is why you can use facts to back up your argument that the Arizona Bar Association, which is a part of the judicial branch of the Arizona state government, is a grossly immoral, unethical institution as it's supposed to operate. Not if you're just lying like this guy from Kansas. Just in the manner they're supposed to operate. Immoral. Well, you can't talk about moral in law. The hell you can't. How many times have I said it? We're not going to judge an organization's actions, or whether they're moral, right or wrong, or ethical, based on only the rules of the organization, because they're going to write the rules so that everything is legal. So again, we're not going to judge John Gotti's actions or Carlo Gambino, who actually was from Palermo, by the way. We're not going to judge the Gambino's actions, the Gambino crime family. We're not going to judge them by their rules. Just like we're not going to judge the Chinese government on their rules. Well, according to the Chinese government, everything is good to go. So again, this is what you get back. It's not veganism, for example, that's going to make you weak-minded or put the blinders on. It's going to law school. It's taking government courses that will teach you cannot question this. And then send you out to go troll videos on the internet. Tell people, you tell them that if you don't like the laws, you have to either kill the legislature or vote them out. So, yeah. So we got to discuss anarchy somewhat on the show today. I think I'll do my best to prepare some more stuff on the Saturday show. But it's some horrible people out there, boy. I tell you, horrible people out there, and not all of them are government. A lot of them are. A lot of them support it. Does anyone think that if I'm defending myself against the Bar Association, that they're going to even entertain the idea that the entire proceeding is unfair? Do you think they're going to even try or even go give lip service to personal jurisdiction? To even try to prove that their argument that a 110-year-old written instrument applies to me and creates obligations on me? How the hell to create an obligation on me? You think they're going to have this lawyer from Kansas put forth facts and an argument? No, they're just going to give them a free pass. We're going to let them argue against you. We're not even allow you to challenge that. It doesn't matter that I have the facts, and like I mentioned before, I have the current position of the United States government to show that it has a basis in law. Doesn't matter. Yeah, anarchy makes you homosexual. And veganism makes you gay. So I'm a vegan anarchist. Does that cancel out the gay? I don't know. What a stupid argument, though. Again, that's not to the man. It's to the argument. And I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna sit here and try to go through studies and discuss it in detail because it's ridiculous. There was that stupid soy boy video that got like 5 million views. What a joke. All right, I'm going to wrap up there. I'm glad we got 40 minutes worth of of show done. I hope somebody finds some value in the show from today. So, why ad hominems? Yeah, well, but I will be back on the Saturday show. So, here I stopped actually talking about the virus, and I'm getting just as many hateful emails and whatnot. So I'm starting to think, there's just going to be a rabid bunch of people, a group of people who watch the show and just have nothing better to do than to make personal attacks. So that's unfortunately the way it's going to be. But I will still be here on Saturday, and we'll talk about anarchy and ethics. And depending on if anything comes through support wise, I will be able to take calls, but I will always be able to take calls on Skype anyway. Frank Rizzo 3. So, hey, listen, until the Saturday show, remember, I think at least ethics matter. And just because your organization or your group says that they don't, it's a pretty good indication you're doing something nefarious. But till Saturday, salud.